Starting a startup might sound complicated, but today I am breaking it down. Forget about endless planning, this video is all about action. So, how do you start a startup the first way? The answer is not working longer hours or putting tons of money into it. Instead, we'll focus on moving quickly by testing ideas, refining based on feedback, and building only what matters the most. These are not just tips, they're steps proven by successful entrepreneurs. Think of this as a startup shortcut designed to skip the unnecessary steps, dodge common mistakes, and get straight to what works. By the end, you will know exactly how to take an idea and build it into something real, something that actually works. Let's get into it. The first step to starting a successful startup is finding the right idea. But here is the catch. You don't need a perfect revolutionary idea to get started. Instead, look for a problem that a lot of people have, one they are willing to pay to solve. Focus on markets with big potential. This gives your startup room to grow and, more importantly, room to make mistakes without running out of customers. Begin by identifying industries you are interested in or have some experience with. Ask yourself, what are common frustrations people face here? Is there a way to make things simpler, faster, or cheaper? Look for the problems that are significant but don't have an easy solution yet. Once you have pinpointed a problem, check out who is already offering solutions. Study at least 20 to 30 companies in that field. Look at their products, look at their pricing, and their marketing strategies. This helps you understand what is out there and what is missing. Those gaps are your opportunity. Now, it's time to validate your idea by talking to real users. This doesn't mean sending out surveys or random emails. Instead, try to have meaningful conversations with at least 50 to 100 people who would actually use your product. Ask questions like, what is your biggest frustration here? How are you currently solving it? And what would make your life easier? Listen carefully to what they say. The goal is not to sell them your idea yet, but to understand their needs and pain points deeply. These insights will be valuable. Before investing time and money into building, start with a small test. This could be as simple as a landing page that explains your product. Run some ads to get traffic to this page and see if people are interested enough to sign up. Alternatively, you could create a smoke test by offering mock version of the service. Say you are creating a tool to help recruiters. Offer them a sample list of contacts or a basic service you can fulfill manually. See if they are willing to pay for it. If they are, that's validation. Let's have a look at Mint.com. Before Mint launched their budgeting app, they built a blog on personal finance topics. Over 6 months, they gathered more than 1 lakh email signups, proving there was enough demand for their product. Another example can be Dropbox. Dropbox created a simple demo video of their product concept and showed it to potential users. The overwhelming interest validated their idea before they built the full product. After validating your idea, it's time to create an MVP or minimum viable product. Think of this as the simplest version of your product that still solves the main problem. An MVP allows you to test your solution with real users without committing a ton of resources. This is essential for fast growth. Many new founders get caught in trying to build a perfect product from day one. But here is the secret. Perfection can wait. For your MVP, you only need a few core features. The one that delivers the main value to your users. As long as it solves the biggest problem, you are on the right track. Before spending time building automated systems, consider if you can manually provide the service first. It sounds counterintuitive, but it's incredibly effective for early-stage startups. Building the MVP should take no longer than 4 weeks, ideally even less. The faster you get your product in front of users, the faster you will learn what works and what doesn't. Early feedback is crucial because it helps you refine your product before you scale. Let's look at few real examples. Let's take Amazon. They started with just books, a single product line. This allowed them to build a strong foundation before expanding into other categories. Similarly, you could focus on one service, gather feedback, and perfect it before adding additional features. Once your MVP is live, reach out to the first users directly. Ask for feedback on what they like, what they don't, and what is missing. User feedback is invaluable. It's also the only way to make sure you are building something people actually want. Ask questions like, what did you find most useful? Is there anything that felt confusing or unnecessary? What would you change if you could? Take Dropbox as an example again. Their MVP was essentially a simple demo video, but they were able to get thousands of people to sign up just by showing what the product would look like. They didn't build out a fully functional app until they knew there was genuine demand. Remember, your MVP doesn't need to be flawless. It just needs to be functional and deliver value. A good enough MVP allows you to launch faster, start earning revenue sooner, and improve based on real data. Take Zappos, the online shoe store. The founder didn't start by building a massive inventory. Instead, he took photos of shoes in local stores and listed them online. If someone bought a pair, he would go buy them and ship them directly to customers. This approach allowed Zappos to test demand with minimal risk. Or take Airbnb. The founders of Airbnb started by renting out an air mattress in their apartment. They didn't start with a full app or a massive budget, just a simple website and the air mattress. Once they saw demand, they began building the business. Also, we can take examples of Uber. Uber's first MVP, Uber Cab, only had a simple app where you could request a black car in San Francisco. No ride sharing, no extra features, just the core service. This approach helped them validate the concept quickly and expand from there. Also, Buffer, the social media scheduling tool, started as a landing page where people could see how the service would work and sign up if interested. They didn't have a working product yet, but this simple test proved demand and gave them valuable feedback before building the app. Once your MVP is out there, the next step is to continuously test and improve. This phase is all about expanding, learning, and iterating based on user feedback. It's where your startup begins to take shape and where you start seeing what really resonates with your audience. Startups that succeed treat their product as a work in progress. Every test, every single piece of feedback is an opportunity to learn and improve. Think of it as a cycle. You learn from users, test a new idea or feature, analyze the results, and then repeat. The goal is to set up a process where you're constantly learning and adapting. Small, quick tests can yield valuable insights without taking up too much time. Ask yourself, what is the smallest test I can run this week that will give me useful feedback? If you are working on a new feature, you don't need to code it all right away. Instead, show a mock-up to a handful of users and ask for feedback. Or release the feature to just 10% of your users and track their responses. To make informed decisions, track key performance metrics. These could be things like user engagement, customer acquisition cost, or conversion rate. Whatever reflects how well your product is meeting user needs. For example, Airbnb initially noticed that many users signed up, but they didn't book any stays. After digging into the data, they found that low quality photos were discouraging bookings. By helping hosts take better photos, they boosted engagement and bookings. User feedback should be at the heart of every iteration. After each test, review what users liked, what they didn't, and what confused them. Don't be afraid to make changes, even big ones, if feedback points that way. Iteration is about adapting, not just tweaking small details. Not every test will be a success, and that's okay. Setbacks are a natural part of the startup process. Instead of seeing them as failures, treat them as learning opportunities. Analyze what went wrong and use that knowledge to improve. Testing and iterating is not a one-time process. It's a cycle you will repeat again and again, ideally every week or two. This keeps your product evolving, ensure it stays aligned with user needs, and increases your chance to success. Let's say every Monday your teams meet to discuss what worked and what didn't from last week's test. You make changes, set up new tests, and repeat. By constantly focusing on learning and adapting, your startup becomes more resilient and more tuned into what users want. Starting a business is not a sprint, it's a marathon. As exciting as the early stages of launching a startup are, there will be challenges along the way. The key to overcome them is perseverance. If you are committed for the long game, your chance of success skyrockets. One of the biggest misconceptions about startups is that success happens overnight. In reality, growth can be slow at first. Instead of expecting immediate result, set small, achievable goals like growing 5% each week. This steady approach will keep you motivated without burning you out. Learn from each test and pivot. Over time, these small wins will compound into big results. Staying flexible and open to change is critical. Markets shift, technology evolves, and user needs change. Successful founders understand that adaptability is essential for long-term success. Think of every roadblock as a lesson. Ask yourself, what can I learn from this? and adjust your strategy as needed. Building a startup is challenging. There will be moments when you question your progress or even feel like giving up. During those times, remind yourself why you started this journey. Whether it's solving a problem you care about, creating value, or achieving financial freedom. Keeping that why in mind will help you push through. Alright, that's all on how to start a startup the first way. If you found these tips helpful, give this video a thumbs up and consider subscribing for more startup insights. And if you are on the startup journey, let us know in the comments about your biggest challenge. Good luck and keep pushing forward.